Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group A. We will presentation about community structure. Let me introduce our member group. My name is Serina Indira with student number 119A. And my friends Alifiandra Soni P with student number 208. And Humam Yusuf A with student number 215. Next, introduction. Organisms have their own patterns of distribution and biological organization functioning in the natural system. Community is one of the hierarchies of ecological organization composed of different species of organisms interacting in space and time. Photosynthesis is the fundamental biological process by which radiant energy is converted to chemical energy and thereby readily becomes available for all living things existing on the planet Earth. Consequently, the type and extent of primary productivity determines the distribution, abundance, and diversity of consumers that live being subordinate to the photosynthetic product of green plants, especially in the terrestrial ecosystem. Next, community structure. Community is composed of all the organisms occupying a site. The extent to which these organisms are co-evolved to form a consistent and recurring integrated community or represent an assemblage of loosely interacting species remains. The three general approaches to describing community structure can be identified by species diversity, species interaction, and functional organization. Next, species diversity. Species diversity is defined as the number of species and abundance of each species that live in a particular location. The number of species that live in a certain location is called species richness. The total number of species can be estimated by extrapolating from a species abundance curve that plots cumulative species against cumulative sample number or area. Alternatively, several parametric and non-parametric estimators can be used. Next.
Okay, the next one is species interaction. Species interaction form the basis for many ecosystem properties and processes such as nutrient cycling and food webs. The nature of this interaction can vary depending on the evolutionary context and environmental condition in which they occur. At the courses level, ecological interaction can be defined as either intraspecific or interspecific. Intraspecific interaction are those that occur between individuals of the same species, while the interaction that occur between two or more species are called interspecific interaction. Food chain and food web. Food chain is a linear sequence of organisms through which nutrient and energy pass as one organism eats another. This condition results in community stability and ecosystem stability. The matter and energy movement of virtually all ecosystems are more accurately described by food webs. A food web is a concept that accounts for the multiple trophic or feeding interaction between each species and the many species it may feed on or that feed on it. In a food web, the several trophic connection between each species and the other species that interact with it may cross multiple trophic levels. Trophic loops and intra-group predation. Loops or reciprocal predation, in which two species feed on each other or a third species feeds on one and is eaten by the other, should be rare or absent because the size range or prey is constrained by physical limits and because loops potentially does reduce population recovery following disturbance. Intra-group predation is defined as a natural enemy feeding on another natural enemy when both natural enemies share another resource as food. As such, the interaction may involve either predation or parasitism and competition. Therefore, intra-group predation or IGP can decrease or eliminate resource competition, which may directly enhance individual fitness as a result of eliminating a competitor for similar resource. Okay, the next one is omnivory. Omnivory is a feeding strategy in which animals eat food from two or more trophic levels. For example, plants and herbivores or herbivores and their predators. Animals that employ this feeding strategy are omnivores. This feeding strategy is employed by many organisms and is apparently ubiquitous in nature. Omnivory imparts considerable complexity to the natural history, behavior, and ecology of organisms employing this feeding strategy, and also imparts complexity to the food web surrounding them.
Next is basal ratio to the species. The basal metabolic rate can be inherited, and this combined with the fact that lower extreme mortality in the tropic results in adult birds that allocate more energy of cell and less reproductive efforts. The relationship between mass and basal metabolic rate in mammals follows the allometric relationship between metabolic rate and mass, which applies to everything from the unicellular level of organisms to poikilothermic and homothermic vertebrates. Animal and plants have the same set of allometric relationship involving the body mass, growth rate, lifespan, maximum size, and density. Next, functional organization. Loops or prepositional predation in which two species feed on each other or a third species feed on one and eaten by the other should be rare or absent because of the size range of prey is constrained by physical limits and because loop potentially reduce population recovery following disturbance. Intragroup predation is defined as natural enemy feeding on another natural enemy with both natural enemies share another resource as food, usually plant, feeding prey, or host species. As such, the interaction may involve either predation or parasitism and competition. Therefore, intragroup predation or IGP can decrease or eliminate resource competition, which may directly enhance individual fitness as result, eliminating a competitor for similar results. Next, the convention from our group commonly consists of all organisms that occupy the site that can be identified by species diversity, species interaction, and functional organization. Species diversity is defined as the number of species in the absence of each species living in a given location, which can be estimated by extrapolating from a species average the curve that plots the cumulative species against the sample or cumulative area. Species interaction from the basic for many ecosystem property and process such as nutrient cycling and food webs, which can be different into interspecific and intraspecific. The food chain is a linear sequence of organisms through which nutrients and energy pass when one organism eats other organism, which consists of plants, primary consume, secondary consume, tertiary consume. Loop or reciprocal predation, where two species each other and other species each one on are eaten by another whereas intragroup predation is defined as natural enemy that eats another natural enemy when the two natural enemies share another resource as food. Omnivore is feeding strategy in which animal eat food from two or more trophic level. The basal metabolic rate can be inherited and combined with the fact that intrinsic mortality is lower the tropics. A functional group organism is a group species organism that share similar characteristics in a community. Next, that's all from our group. Thank you.